So I was listening to a Formula One podcast this morning, as I want to do, and the discussion was about the bids for new teams to join Formula One. As people probably know, there are two teams that are trying to join, Andretti Cadillac and High Tech GP, and the FIA is expected to or has already possibly approved their bids, but they will not be joining because Formula One will not approve the bids because the teams do not want to share the prize money, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, there will not be new teams in Formula One. But the interesting thing to me was in the answering of the question, the way that it was talked about, that if it's going to come to a head where the FIA gives their approval and recommends to F1, the commercial rights holder, Liberty Media, that they are in favor of these teams joining, and then it comes to the point where Liberty Media is forced to go to the teams and say, will you negotiate a new Concord agreement with the entry of these two teams? And the teams say no, and then F1 will have to say, nope, sorry. And it was talked about that this would be bad for Formula One, that if this was this confrontation that happened, it would be bad for Formula One. And instead, what should happen is that they should announce as soon as possible that, the teams are not going to be joining, and that's it. And I thought a lot about that phrase, bad for Formula One, because actually, if you think about it, we hear it a lot. If you pay attention to this kind of thing, we hear it so much. And I feel like it's much more so than in other sports. I mean, I recall in American baseball and MLB, there was discussion of it's going to be bad for baseball if there was a player strike, which there was anyway. Um, that's something that makes a lot more sense to me. Of course, it's bad for baseball if there's no baseball happening. Just like it was a difficult time for many sports during the COVID period because they couldn't play and thus teams couldn't make money, the league couldn't make money, etc. But there's so much discussion about what's bad for Formula One from a PR angle, I feel like, that is very weird to me and doesn't make sense as coming from someone who's followed other sports before. It seems that Formula One feels that it has to speak with one voice. All the different stakeholders, the drivers, the principals, the team bosses, the FIA, the Liberty Media, the commercial rights holder, everyone feels that they have to speak with one voice, and everyone feels that they have to agree on anything that happens. And of course, you do hear disagreements sometimes, but in the end, it all gets ironed out. And if there is some kind of big public disagreement, that's considered bad for Formula One. And I just don't think that that's the best thing because disagreements are sometimes important and can bring to the fore important issues and things that need to be discussed and talked about. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have you followed other sports where this bad for, insert sport here has been invoked so many times as it is in Formula One? Let me know what you think.